Then we have things to do. So we'll do an audio check and then get started. Just waiting for the audio check to come up on El YouTubo. Yeah, my game's updated. Nice. Can fire that up while I wait for the audio check to show up, which is taking forever for some reason.
Get dry.
Oh, yay, an ad. I love ads. Get the fuck out of the way! Get out of the way! Okay.
Chicken flavor.
Shut up. Then we have things to do. Okay, an audio check. Audio check's good. Audio check's fine. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? I'll give you a little bit of time to show up. But then we do got to get going. Busy day ahead of us. Busy, busy day ahead of us all. Who's out there? If you're out there, raise your hand. Who's out there? Anybody I know? Hello? Anybody out there that I happen to know? Okay, cool. Checked some stuff. That's fine. Wow. No one is chatting. Oh, it's Theo Bronini. What up? Theo Broman, and then a bunch of numbers. So we're just gonna kick right off into announcements and hope that people are doing well. Okay, so what do we have going on today that is making me feel so rushed? Well, I'm unfortunately doing 2 streams today because life is busy and I have stuff I need to do. And unfortunately, Sunday was the only day I could get together to sit with you all and hang out. So a little bit later today, in approximately 3 hours, if you have the time, we are hosting our Summer Faction War Qualifier. Sign up, single faction tournament, best of 1. If you get the furthest in this tournament as the faction you are playing, then you are invited to the Faction War. If no one else signed up for the faction you want to play, then you just get in for free. So feel free to hop in. It should be a pretty short tournament, best of 1, single factions. There's no pick and ban or anything. Should be pretty quick, simple, and to the point. So from there, we will make a roster for the Faction War and get that kicked off post Tigerman. So that's fun. That's nice. And that's going on in about 3 hours, which I need to finish this stream, run some quick errands, get home, and stream that. So, you know, we're in a bit of a hurry. Sound good? Sounds good. Other announcement thing, as you may have seen in the thumbnail, the Warhammer World Cup is back. If you were not around for that, I should know this ahead of time, but I didn't, and now it's too late. I was a part of the big one in Warhammer 2. That was pretty hype. I forget if they did one in Warhammer 3, if it was Domination, or if that one got canceled. I honestly don't remember. So this might be the 2nd or 3rd iteration of it, but it's a pretty big tournament. Prize pool at the end. This one is going to be Conquest. It is a multi-stage tournament. Free to sign up. If you go to their site, which is at the top of your screen here, warhammerwc.com. It'll have details for you, but you just join their Discord and you register for free, and it's fine. Get to play some games. It is a multiple stage tournament, but I believe the first stage will have some groups, so you just play people in your group, and if you get enough wins, you advance. If you don't, you go home, but, you know, shit happens. Free tournament, sign up. It should be tons of fun. You can see we have a lot of big names promoting it. We have Turin, Dav, Lore Master of Sotek, Anticity, Great Book of Grudges, myself, Zerkovich. I'm just looking for names I recognize. Guillama, Coma White, don't know. Logic, is that War God? That might be War God. Akoi, Crabling, don't know. Battlesy, don't know, and don't know. It's a lot of people. You can also contribute to the prize pool if you feel like it by clicking the support button. But again, there's more details on the site. And I'm also going to create a standalone YouTube short promotion for this, but just need to throw it at the start. Registration is open until June 17th. So you have 10 days from right now to get it in there. It opened on June 3rd, but I've been busy, so I didn't get to announce it on a live stream or anything. So yeah. Should be fun, should be nice. That is all the announcements out of the way. Let's get on to today's thing. Last weekend, I hosted a LAN battle, sweaty, filthy, try-hard tournament for some of the more meta gamers around. We had our standard bans. This was played on our Vermin League ladder, which can be played at any time. You don't need to wait for a tournament, but it is a best of 3 bot on our server, where each player can set 2 global bans for factions that they never want to play against ever. And then we have some baseline unit bans of just shit that's like overpowered, like the Thunder Barge, and I think Dreadmaws recently got banned too. So standard unit caps for tournaments, but if you don't know what those are, I mean, you can just check our bot. But yeah, that is it for our little intro spiel. We have semifinals and finals, best of 3s all the way through. Top of the bracket is VM Berserk and Hayseed. Bottom of the bracket is Incars versus Segos. Yeah. All right. If you're looking for zany, crazy builds, probably not going to see much of that today. There was a whopping $10 Steam gift card on the line, so I'm sure all the players will be taking the sweatiest, most meta, brutal builds they can. And Hayseed's trolling me. All right, cool. No, cool, bro. You do whatever. Hayseed bringing 7 devotees of Slaanesh mixed between crossbows and the melee variant to start off our stream today, as I do need to update the tags at the top. So if you will give me just a moment, I will pause the stream so I can update these things. We have Hayseed on the left. And hey, VM Berserk is in the right spot from the last time I used the scoreboard. So let's just put his name centered and throw a 0 on that bad boy. Let's go. All right, Hayseed versus Berserk, game 1 of this stream. Hayseed's Slaanesh build, very silly, but I can see the cook. I can see the cook. And this is a try-hard tournament. Hayseed is a silly guy. We love him for that. So I don't expect his builds to ever be recognizable for what I consider meta, but he's not a troll. So he always has an idea. He has a scheme. We have a Zazel with Acquiescence and Lash, also trying to give more melee attack for all of his guys. Fiends of Slaanesh, Chaos Furies with their armor piercing, 1 Chaos Spawn to lower melee defense, and then a bunch of Devotees and crossbows. So here's the cook, and I can see the angle. I don't think it's very good. I think Devotees are bad, but here's the angle. He wants anti-infantry units, and then he's going to give them a bunch of extra stats. So Azazel casting, giving 12 melee attack every so often. They already have 10 bonus for infantry and 42 melee attack base. And then you have Chaos Spawn to lower their melee defense further. He's just trying to outstat the Jade Warriors and Jade Warrior Halberds and Tiger Claw, Iron Claw Tiger Warriors that Cathay loves to box with. I see it. I see the angle. I still think, you know, Demonettes of Slaanesh are probably better because they have armor piercing, but he's just trying to stat stick the Cathay box. And then of course he has 3 crossbows to shoot into a box, so we'll see if it works out for him. On the other side, Cathay does in fact have a box. A bunch of Onyx Crowmen to help secure the skies. 2 Iron Claw Tiger Warriors, Bashiva with her blade, but she does not have white tigers, so those Iron Claw Tiger Warriors do not get extra buffs from her. But she does have her blade, so she's a pretty strong combatant. We have a Beasts caster, the Tiger one, with a transformation of Kadon that summons a Celestial Lion. He did not bring any special abilities, so we just have Celestial Lion summons and Flock of Doom. Then a bunch of Jade Warrior Halberds, Peasant Long Spears. We do have the Jade War Drum, the Zhengdu War Drum, ROR. But chaos ensues immediately as Berserk scrambles his lines because the box is not going to work. Versus 3 crossbows, that's just not going to happen. So I think he is trying to spread out and get aggressive as we see the Iron Claw Tiger Warriors sprinting into the Devotees of Slaanesh. who should do okay. Ironclaw Tiger Warriors don't have the best armor, so they're relying on their melee defense, which, I mean, the Devotees, as we talked about ad nauseum, have crazy high melee attacks. So actually, yeah, the Ironclaw Tiger Warriors are gonna get messed up by the Devotees of Slaanesh. All right, one Chaos Fury is already dead though, which is pretty problematic. Onyx Croman are gonna dive the crossbows for free. Though the lines have already been broken, the Grand Cathay box has entirely deteriorated into just an infantry push as he tries to get back to the crossbows. Fiends are hunting the Onyx Croman, and again, I hate Devotees. I think they suck, but maybe you can say, I mean, they have good melee stats, so maybe they'll just mess up the Croman anyway, which doesn't seem to be the case, as that one got massacred, and this one's already very low too. But hey, you never know. You get it. You see what's going on. Ironclaw Tiger Warriors already routing. The other one is getting messed up by those Devotees. As I'm going to pull chat off to the side so I can see all of your lovely comments, which I'm sure there's billions of comments. Fiends finishing off some of the Onyx Croman. Berserk and Grand Cathay is honestly in pretty bad shape. Bounce power is slightly going in the favor of Slaanesh, and I would agree. Peasant Longspear is going to get wrecked by these Devotees. Ironclaw Tiger Warriors are nearly a spent force. Jade Warriors also aren't feeling too good. And Berserk throws in the towel. The 7 Devotee build friggin' did it. I don't know why I friggin' there. You guys don't really care if I swear, but I should pull back on that a little bit. Devotees did it. Haters in shambles, which includes me. Generational hater. Generationally in shambles. Well, let's go. Hayseed's build worked out. I would be a little concerned if... You know what? If what? I guess if he had bombs or like a lot of archers. But thinking about this, actually... This cook's pretty clever, okay? Because I was gonna say, if he has cavalry, you're kind of screwed, but Cathay is not gonna bring cavalry versus Slaanesh, because Slaanesh traditionally will just isolate them and kill them. And then I was like, well, what about mass archers? Well, again, Cathay doesn't tend to bring mass archers, maybe a couple versus Slaanesh, but Chaos Furies are a problem, Fiends are a problem, Pleasure Seekers are a problem. So he kind of cornered him. Like, you kind of know what build Cathay is going to bring, and then he countered it really hard. So I guess the Devotees are good. Holy shit. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, I mean, yeah, I get it. Hold on. Grace just got home, and I got to tell her something. All right, I'm back. I had important dishes related information to share with Grace. Critical that it happened this exact moment. More seriously, if I didn't tell her, then she would think I didn't do the dishes for no reason, because I'm a bad person. But I did most of the dishes, and some of them needed to soak. So I had to tell her, I was like, hey, don't take those out of the sink. They are soaking. Leave them alone. This is very important. This is a very important thing to be going through. All right, Hayseed takes an early lead, 1-0. And now we'll go into a game 2. Dark Elves versus Beastmen. So Berserk got burned by DLC units. He tried to be a funny memer man. He tried to take the cool tiger stuff, and he got rolled for it. So now he's going more traditional. Beastmen with a crap ton of Centaurs. Fortress of Kalkengard, Malagor, solid stuff. Dark Elves, also very strong. And Hayseed's got the buffer of winning the first game, so now he just has to win one of the next 2 to get past Berserk and go to the finals. Would be a bit of an upset. Berserk and Segos are probably my 2 favorite out of the top 4, traditionally. Both very, very strong players. Inkars and Hayseeds aren't no slouches, but you gotta pick favorites. Betting on Berserk's usually a pretty safe bet. So it would be an upset. Hayseed's got to win one of the next 2 games to finish it out. All right, front line of Witch Elves and Blackheart Corsairs. 5 Blackheart Corsair Hambos backing them up. Then Dread Spears, 1 Dark Rider, 3 Harpies, and a Sorceress of Beasts with Flock of Doom. Very wide infantry Dark Elf build. On the other side for Berserk, Berserk brought a frickin' Cygor summon, because I guess he hates me, and I predict him to win, and then he trolls me. Very cool, Berserk. Thanks for doing that. Cygor summon, and then we have Centaurs with throwing axes, Centaurs regular. We have some archers, a couple Ungor Spearman herds, 1 Korngor, 1 Pestigor, and then Centaurs of Tzeentch and the Butchers of Kalkengard. Oh, Cygor summon. Please hit your rocks. Please take us to game 3, so I don't look like such an asshole. I'm sure Berserk's gonna win the whole tournament, you guys. I'm sure Berserk is really good at this video game. Oh shit, he got 0-2'd as soon as the game started. Oh frig. Oh jeez. I guess Hayseed did knock me out of the tournament, so if Hayseed wins the whole thing, I can just say I got second. So I guess I'll root for Hayseed, but I like being right more than I like winning. So I would prefer it if Berserk didn't make me look like a chump. Blackheart Corsair Hambos trying to pin cushion the Cygor summon as Witch Elves also flocked around it. Now it is, once again, just a summon, so, I mean, wasting ammo on it can be a little tough. It is getting 300 value so far, so it's not a bad cast. Malagor is not going to get that value, but the Cygor did, and Malagor summoned it, so you get it, right? For your Winds of Magic return on investment, it's doing okay right now. It is getting close to routing. One more shot. Ooh, down the line. Good shot, good shot. Still don't know if you're worth the Winds of Magic, but it was not bad. Let me see a stupid value, stupid. All right, about 500 value for 15 Winds of Magic. Not bad at all. Good shots from Berserk. It is 15 Winds of Magic, right? Yeah, 15. Nice. Very good use of that spell. I think it's risky. I think there are a lot of Cygor summons that don't do anything, but Berserk positioned it very aggressively and then shot at infantry that were facing away from him. So he did make the most out of it. Nice job there. Still think he's a troll. Anyway, we do have a bit of an engagement over here. Centaurs throwing axes getting mobbed by Harpies, but this is going to turn against the Dark Elves very quickly. Butchers of Kalkengard are coming in. They don't take no guff. You can see the Harpies immediately get orders to run away, but they will not get fully away before the Butchers arrive, terror routing one of them. A second Cygor summon is out, and a beautiful shot. So that was a perfect shot from the Cygor. Already 350 value. He is at head height, so he was throwing a rock essentially sideways into these guys on the hill, and he was throwing it down the line, so it hit as many as possible, which is a beautiful shot. But I do have to say Hayseed is going to have to start, well, it's too late now. That's the second summon out of 2, and it's already burning through its life. But when you see a Cygor summon, you do have to start watching who it's shooting at and then turning them. You have to turn towards it so it doesn't get a side shot, it gets a frontal shot. Kind of like Amber Spear. Not as good of a shot there. Kind of like Amber Spear against dwarves, where you shoot it down the line of dwarves and it nearly takes out an entire unit because it hits all of them on the way through. You have to counterplay those type of things, and then Amber Spear is pretty whatever. But if your opponent's not paying attention or doesn't realize the danger, I think Hayseed's paying attention. I just don't think he realized that Cygors do that much damage. But it's the side shots that's getting all of this value. If he faces him like you just saw there, it's pretty underwhelming. The Cygor, sorry, I'm obsessing about it. I'll leave it alone after this. Yeah, he's gotten 100 value with his last 3 shots, but his first shot got like 400 value. So it is largely, and that one missed. So that's why I generally think Cygor summons are bad, is because it's very risky to get your value back. But if your opponent isn't paying attention and you get that sweet spot shot, it can be very, very good. Elsewhere, so Berserk is just kind of pulling him apart. We haven't talked too much about the engagements, but to be honest, there haven't been that many. Now Centaurs are charging into these Blackheart Corsairs. Butchers of Kalkengard charged into the Dread Spears before that. But Berserk has been relatively happy just to skirmish a bit with his skirmish cav and archers while using the Cygor summons. So he's just buying time for his Cygors to throw, soften up the Dark Elves, make them nice and weak before the charge comes in. So you can see now the Cygor is about to fade away and Berserk all of a sudden gets aggressive. But now he's getting aggressive against Dark Elves that are at a quarter health and already very scared. And they're still fresh. So that was the nice part. He's getting the Dark Elf passive to proc without giving them a second life. It's just their first life still, you know? They're getting the stat buff and stuff, but it's not like they fought and fought and fought. Now they're tired. Murderous Prowess procs and gives them fresh vigor. They're still fresh, and it got procced, so that's pretty smart. Did you ever play the Bannerlord mods on the old realms? I did not. Without Cold One Knights, those Dark Elves are just going to get picked apart. Not a fan of Hayseed's army. Yeah, it is looking a little tough. I see that he didn't want to challenge the Centaurs and he wanted to just win with infantry, but this isn't Conquest, so there's no like way to force your opponent to engage with you if you stand around for long enough. And then his archers were all medium range, so he seemed to really be betting that the Beastmen were just going to rush him, and then he could withstand their attacks with his infantry superiority and then shoot back with medium range crossbows. But when Berserk was going to kite him, he had no long range deterrent. He had no objective to force him to come in. So yeah, it was, you know, the first army he cooked and it was a delicious Salisbury steak. Second army he cooked and it was a bit of a flop, a little burnt, but shit happens, you know. Berserk did handle the build masterfully, though. I do think you have to compliment him on that, because it's not just build diff, but it is also piloting your build very well. Because Berserk had trash melee, so he did have to play carefully. If he just charged in, he would have died. Super bad. Melee infantry did not get much value. His archers did great. His centaurs did okay. Centaurs throwing axes did fine. Butcher's Cotton Guard did okay, but it was a pretty short game once the melee actually started. It's not going to be a lot of value, as the Cygor got a lot of value that just disappeared off the map. You can see the Dark Elves have incredibly lackluster damage because they just barely got to participate in the game. GG's takes us to game 3. I'll throw you back to the, I guess, YouTube, apparently. There we go. The blocker, so you don't spoil. I mean, you know this goes to game 3, but it's just one semifinal. Other semifinals have spoilers too, bruh. Ogre Kingdoms, Chaos Dwarves for the last matchup, and Hayseed has a very concerning build. I'm concerned, I'm frightened, I'm alarmed. I see all the pieces, right? You have 4 bolt throwers, which are good anti-large artillery pieces that are relatively cheap. You have 4 blunderbusses, which are great at shredding anything that is not infantry sized. You have 2 heroes that are anti-large armor piercing and good snipers. I see it. I see all that. What I don't see, and I'm concerned about, is what's going to keep those things firing, because his front line is abysmal. Orc and goblin laborers, a couple hobgoblin, 1 blazing beard, a Chaos Dwarf warrior, but otherwise it is just slaves and hobgoblins to defend these expensive guns. We do have a foot caster of metal with just Searing Doom, so not even a Bale Taurus. I'm concerned. His damage all makes sense why he took them, but I'm concerned they're just going to get run over. For the side of the ogres, we have an Eshin Maneater in Vanguard trying to sneak around, some Sabertusk packs, a bunch of Gnoblars spread between Flingas, a couple Gnoblar trappers, some basic Gnoblars around here. We do have Ogre Bulls and Ogre Bulls with dual weapons, a Butcher of Heavens with Thunderbolt, Midnight Wind, and Chain Lightning, a Lead Belcher or 2, and Golgi Maneater with his Heal and Deadeye. So the ogres don't have that much melee, because I'm betting they were kind of expecting to deal with heavy armor. Ooh, we do have some Gorgers sneaking around with more Gnoblar trappers, so Berserk's got some stealth units doing a bit of a sneak. But anyway, he didn't want to have too many large melee combatants to be shot at. Did want to be more cautious, but I think this is a really good build from Berserk, because he also isn't trying to kite the Chaos Dwarves, which can be risky against Hobgoblin Bolt Throwers. Are actually pretty good at that. The double Infernal Castellans are pretty good at counter kite. So no, there's 1 Lead Belcher, but not like 4 Lead Belchers trying to kite them around. So I think this is a really good build versus what Hayseed brought. Just a bunch of Vanguard and sneaking and ready to get in there. Hayseed is starting to advance, which is going to leave his Bolt Throwers behind, and they're not going to be defended by any melee units. I don't know if he's aware of the danger. Obviously, there is a Sabertusk pack that he can see, but the other 3 units are all stocked, to be fair. Orc Laborers and the Hobgoblin Cutthroats moving up against the random Gnoblars. And again, to be fair to Hayseed, there are trees over there, and there's already 1 Lead Belcher in the tree. For all he knows, there's 2 or 3 more over there. So he is maybe trying to push up and get some vision or keep the lead belchers out of range of his ranged units while he locates them. But we are now starting to get arrows pointing backwards. The stealth units have revealed themselves, and I think he's realized the danger is not coming from the trees, it's coming from behind him. Still, Berserk is kiting it out, just throwing some Noblar Flingas at the Hobgoblin Cutthroats and whatnot. He is against 4 artillery, so Hayseed should have the advantage the longer this takes. The Heaven's Caster moved up. He got a little bit of Thunderbolts out, but not too much. And Hayseed has to be careful. He has to be careful and patient. He can't be picked apart. He has the range advantage. Unlike at game 2, he now has 4 artillery pieces. So if he waits, he should out-damage Berserk and just has to be patient. His units that are losing HP are pretty garbage. Like, he's lost a Hobgoblin Cutthroat and I think a Laborer. Who cares? Nice Thunderbolt, though, onto the blunderbusses. But the Bolt Throwers have to be getting a lot of value out. One is trying to poke down the Butcher of Heavens, but Berserk is dodging decently. Golgi was also taking some damage earlier, and I think he got some heals. But in comes the flanking units. And the blunderbusses are just trying to defend the backline. He's not pulling back any of his trash infantry to defend because the blunderbusses are trying to defend, and if your trash infantry get between the blunderbusses and their target, they can't see it. So he is trying to defend his backline with ranged units. It is intentional. Now again, I'm not trying to say I agree with the strategy. I'm just saying what I think the strategy is. I initially pointed out that I think his front line is pretty horrible considering the amount of range units he has. So not trying to condone these actions, but I am trying to explain them. Saber-Tusk Packs dive in onto the blunderbusses who are now mucked up. The other blunderbusses turn and try and fire at these Saber-Tusk Packs, though those kitty cats are a little low to the ground, and even the dwarf's small stature doesn't afford them the ability to shoot over each other in this case because they're so small. So small. Golgi runs in, is going to fight with the Sorcerer Prophet of Metal, and that is an incredibly one-sided affair. The little Chaos Dwarf is trying, but he's going to lose. Bounce power is about even for now as the blunderbusses get shut down by the Saber-Tusk Packs. Eshin Maneater is plowing through another blunderbuss who's already wounded. We have lost a Hobgoblin Bolt Thrower very quickly. Frontline fight is starting to get engaged. Berserk is pulling forward all of his Noblars to fight with the trash, but it is trash versus trash. No one really cares. The big problem is the Chaos Dwarf's range is all getting shut down already. Sorcerer Prophet is trying to run away, and Golgi is just following him ominously, as one does. Another Chain Lightning is out from Berserk onto the blunderbusses, but in the meantime, it looks like Berserk was busy with other stuff, and his micro did fall a little bit on his Butcher of Heavens, who has taken significant damage, but the Balance of Power shares my thoughts about this. It's just really hard to defend all these ranged units without much of a front line or back line. All right, let's go through the values. Not too much value on the Chaos Dwarf side. Some of the Bolt Throwers did well, but everything else really struggled. Berserk played a good, patient game after realizing his opponent had a ton of ranged assets and not much to defend them. Just set everything up. It was a very slow setup, but then when he pulled the trigger, the game was over in almost an instant, so I feel like his patience was rewarded. Take you back to the desktop, Photoshop, get rid of the rattling plushie blocker so we can see Berserk 1. But who will face him? Inkars or Segoth? All right, Inkars and Segos. Inkars bringing greenskins into Segos' Beastmen. Gotcha. Let's throw up the XMT Inkars. He does not have a victory versus ODM's Segos. Segos is a very good Beastman player. I don't know what faction is Segos' favorite because he kind of is a meta player. Like, he'll learn whatever is strongest at the time and play it into the dirt. He can meme, but I'm just saying when he's tryharding, it's like he tends to default to whatever the most effective faction is at the time and play that as effectively as possible. He's that kind of player. There are other high tier players that just kind of stick to their mains, like Black Knight and his High Elves, Blood Penguin and Britannian Empire, and even if those factions weren't strong at the moment, he'd probably still play them just because it's what he's best at. Sego is just kind of good at a lot of factions. Inkars is a Tomb Kings player, but I remember that for this series, his Tomb Kings was banned. It was one of Sego's 2 bans that you are allowed, so rip Inkars. All right, for the builds, Greenskins, Goblin and Orc Boy Spear mixed front line. We do have Grom the Paunch, the Swamp Things, other Stone Trolls, an Orc Shaman with Here We Go and Brain Burster, some Orc R Boys, Savage Orc, Boar Boys, Rugland's Armored Orcs, Broken Tusk Mob. So it's a mix of Orcs, Goblins, Orc Archers, and then all of the Boar Cav, just a little sprinkling of each. Cool, cool. On the other side, for the Beastmen, we have some rotations going on. They don't want to commit to an engagement just yet, it seems. We have a Groghoofs of Wolf's Run, Skirmish Cav, Regeneration, good unit, Razorgore Herds, Ungor Spearman Herds, Slongor front line, backed up by the Butchers of Kalkengard. And then in the distance, a couple melee Centaurs, a Chimera and Malagor with Doom and Darkness and Flock of Doom. Okay. We'll see how this goes. Slongors should make quick work of the Greenskin front line, but Orc Spear Boys are surprisingly durable. Since their addition to the game, they've been a staple in Greenskin front lines. And here we go on top of this unit, but a nasty Chimera Breath attack to already kind of blunt their engagement. Terror from the Butchers of Kalkengard is threatening to take out these units. Is Grom nearby? Yes, he is, but is he applying his ITP? Yes, he is. Language of the Boys. Immune to Psychology as a Doom and Darkness comes down too. Everybody is betting everything on this quick little frontline fight here as the center of the Greenskins does buckle and break with the Doom and Darkness and Breath Attack doing enough to get through. But Boar Boys sprint forward to hold the line and keep the archers safe. Awa is out as well as that Here We Go on some of these units still, so a lot of melee stats left for the Greenskins. Brain Burst are coming out too. And Sego's put a lot into the center. Some of the flanks are going okay, but the center breakthrough is really what he was going for, as the flanks are running out of momentum quickly. The Boar Boys, the Spears holding for now, and the Centaurs and Razorgore Herds are having a tough time getting it done on the flanks. But this is not the slow surround and execution we saw the last 2 games of the previous series. This is just both sides throwing their action figures together and seeing who has the higher stats at the moment. As Slongor's in the back line, that is dangerous. They can do a lot of damage, but their leadership is faltering as they get very low on HP. The Greenskins seem to be doing pretty well overall. The Chimera has dove down, and the balance of power is going in the Greenskins' favor slightly. I think it is more dire than that. I do think that the Beastmen need a big Lord Snipe, or they're not going to win this at this point. We still have Trolls that are regenerating and holding the line. The Greenskin Infantry has higher HP bars. Their archers are still up and firing. So yeah, I'm very, very concerned about the Beastmen in this game right now, unless they can get a snipe. The Chimera is trying to help the Butchers of Kalkengard get some damage on Grom the Paunch, but the Butchers are very low. 6 models, 1,000 HP and falling. They're going to start losing those last few models quite quickly. In comes some Groghoof fire, but maybe friendly fire. No, the Butchers live. Man, so low on HP, and they're just not losing models anymore. Very lucky for the Beastmen to keep that many models alive. They retreat, they will regenerate, and be right back. But the snipe is coming in. The Chimera is doing really good work on Grom, even without the support of the Butchers. But Grom skirts away, leaving the Chimera surrounded by Broken Tusks Mob and Goblin Spears, buffed up with Wah, and Here We Go in one after the other, not at the same time, but that is a lot of damage onto the Chimera. Bounce power pulls further away from the Beastmen, but Grom's HP bar is at half. He's regenerating slowly, but if the Beastmen can get something back onto him, can finish that snipe attempt, they can turn this game around. Big Flock of Doom from Sego's onto multiple units in the center of the Greenskin formation. Chimera is still locked down. I don't know if he's tried escaping or if he is just trying to fight his way out, but the Broken Tusk Mob providing a lot more mass than I bet they expected. The Swamp Things are also in here providing terror. Unfortunately for them, Chimera causes terror, and the Slaanesh Slongors are immune to it, so not a lot of terror routing going to be going on the Beastman side. Malagor and the Chimera trying to get something done. Grom is just finishing off Razorgore Herds and Slongors. The Groghoofs, very healthy in the distance, decent amount of ammunition left, but that's not a unit with a ton of oomph. It's a good unit, but it's not like if it surrounds Grom, he's just going to instantly die. Like, he'll be fine. Hey, Will, how you doing? Here we go out from the Greenskins, but just as that happens, some goblins are going to tear out, and Swamp Things are going to run away and chase the Butcher's Guard, who briefly came back and then ran away yet again. Archers firing at the Chimera. I have to think the Beastmen's options in this game are dwindling. Segos agrees and throws in the towel. Those spear boys, man, they'll hold. Archers all got pretty good value. Savage Orc Boar Boys did okay. Boar Biggins, both of them did very well. And then the Trolls did fine. For Segos, Chimera did well. Malagor did okay, but he generally prefers a longer game so he can spam more Flocks of Dooms and chase stuff off the map. Groghooves and Butchers did all right. Slongors actually did pretty solidly, but the flanks is where it all went to hell. Razorgors didn't get much done, and Centaurs also struggled a little bit. GG's. I need to be careful to bring you back to this before I take you to the replays file, which would reveal how many games are played of this in the finals, and then that would spoil everything. Because if you see 3 replays, you know go to game 3. If you see 2, you go to game 2. If you see the finals has 3 games or 2 games, then you know too much. You know too much, which is why you have to go to the bracket and not see what's going on. Not allowed to. Oh, hey, Incar's got to play as Tomb Kings. I thought they were banned for this series. Never mind. Never mind. Tomb Kings on his main. Tomb Kings on his main Incars. Incars on his Tomb Kings. Yes. Babbling over. Segos on to Tzeentch. Certainly a very good Tzeentch player. Blue fire, kiting, and spamming is a hallmark of top tier Warhammer 3 players, because Blue Fire of Tzeentch is a good, well-designed spell that I enjoy casting and talking about. But he didn't bring it here, actually, which makes me happy, because I love talking about Blue Fire. I didn't say anything wrong. I just said I love watching a flying caster run away and cast Blue Fire for like 25 minutes. I love it. I think it's a good spell. I don't know why you guys are so mad, but it's not here, thank God. Zarthoriel the Everchosen, Everwatcher with Final Transmutation and Plague of Rust. For the rest of his front line, we have the Chromatic Abominations, the Sour Guts, and then a bunch more blue and pink horrors. Forsaken for a meaty front line, Screamers of Tzeentch for a bit of armor piercing and flying pressure, with the Shrieking Skyrays on the far flank. For Incars and the Tomb Kings, we have 4 Skeleton Horse Archers, front line of Skeleton Spears and Warriors. Then we have double Kitty Cats, Cetra and the Sphinx of Usef, backed up by some Skeleton Horsemen, Nahakar Horsemen, and the Chosen of the Gods. Pink and blue horrors are firing in, but they are woefully outmatched. The Skirmish Cav is honestly decent into them, and the Chosen of the Gods are amazing, so even Demonic Instability going to start weighing against the blue horrors now. They honestly might rally. I'm not sure. Usually when Demonic Instability crumbling starts, you just lose the unit, but I don't know. They were pretty healthy when it started. Wow, I guess they are just going to lose the unit. That's kind of messed up. Anyway, what I was going to say is Segos needs to get into melee as quickly as possible. His Forsaken have to start blending through these skeletons and getting toward that back line, because he just can't out-skirmish the 4 Skirmish Cav and the Chosen of the Gods. That's not going to happen. So Thoriel's diving onto Cetra, trying to get a little bit of damage on him. Plague of Rust overcasted, trying to make him more susceptible to the pink horror fire, but pink and blue horrors are not great at shooting single entities that are that fast and slippery like the Kitty Cats. So Cetra is going to get out to safety relatively fine. Screamers coming in from various angles to threaten either the Skirmish Cavalry or maybe the Chosen of the Gods and stop their shooting. Things are going a little rough for the Tzeentch in the start of the game. That'll happen. Tzeentch does do better as the game goes on. As they get out more spells, they can cast some army abilities on the enemy and also just get through the infantry of the front line Tomb Kings and get to the back line. In comes a big Final Transmutation. Cetra initially brings it into a blob fight, but he sees that it's there and now he's going to run away. Still does good damage to him, but not going to hit his whole army at the same time anymore. Screamers of Tzeentch have taken several nerfs, and they definitely feel it as they are having a hard time in this backline fight getting killed off. But there are some of the sniping abilities we talked about. Tier 2 army ability of Tzeentch hitting Cetra, and the Final Transmutation, he's already below half HP, so the Tzeentch Lord Snipe is going very, very well. Their backline threat is a bit of a catastrophe, losing all of their Screamers quickly. That's about 2,300 gold loss, so it is not nothing. Those are not Harpies or Fury. I mean, even Furies you shouldn't throw to their deaths. They're not Fell Bats, right? So the Screamers just dying off is pretty brutal and a big loss for Tzeentch. But Good snipes onto Cetra. One more overcasted Final Transmutation should give him a tier 2 army ability of Tzeentch, which is a Doombolt type thing. And if that hits Cetra, honestly, Cetra might die or crumble. So Sartorial is just Winds of Magic cooldown away from killing Cetra outright. Tzeentch is winning the front line. So the back line was a disaster for Tzeentch. Utter disaster. The Screamers are all dead. They got nothing done. But the front line's going well, and the Lord v Lord quotations fight is going very well. Another Plague of Rust is down onto Cetra. It is overcast as well, but I wonder if that's the best decision. The Final Transmutation gave you so much army ability and so much direct damage onto Cetra, and the game's slipping away from you a little bit. I wonder if we should have just saved up for Final Transmutation. Because yeah, now he's using Arcane Surge to give himself more Winds of Magic to cast Final Transmutation to get a tier 2 army ability. Like, I feel like we're just running in circles rather than like focusing on actually Lord sniping out, etc. Forsaken still blending through the front line, and now Inkars did have to dedicate some light cavalry to be a pseudo front line to keep the Chosen Gods online for now. Shooting into the Forsaken, but they will eventually have to start kiting. It is Forsaken versus cavalry though, so the cavalry can kite nearly infinitely. They are much better on speed. So Thoriel is stuck on the ground, unable to get away from the Sphinx Usef. He's just getting pushed around for now. Things are looking pretty dire for Tzeentch, as Loopy points out in chat. Balance of Power isn't a foregone conclusion yet, but it is looking rough when all you have left is infantry and Sartorial versus Skirmish Cav and Ushabti, all of which are faster than your infantry, so you can just get kited. Cetra is very low, so once again, if we save up for an overcast of Final Transmutation, that alone might kill him, but you could follow it up with a Doombolt. That'd be nice. You'd take out the enemy caster, lower their leadership a little bit, and if Sartorial can ever get in the air, which has been very difficult for him, but if he ever can get in the air, then you could maybe kite this out where it's like, hey, just have your Forsaken take endless abuse from the Skeleton Horse Archers, use Final Transmutations as you get them. Who knows how much Winds of Magic he has left, but on the Sphinx, there is a way to win this, but it involves Sartorial getting up in the air and finishing the snipe onto Cetra is the only way Tzeentch can get back in this game. But if he's stuck on the ground, they're doomed. He can't possibly win. Here comes the Final Transmutation onto Cetra. Is it overcast? Yes, so he probably dies in that cast. I hope we don't see a tier 2 Doombolt on him, because he's gonna die. Yeah. Or if you want to use the Doombolt, just hold it until you know that he lives, but we don't need to waste it. And Segos is being patient. 300 HP. He is crumbling, but he's also getting a heal from the Tomb King's Winds of Magic passive. Charging gives him a brief leadership buff. There's the Doombolt. All right, so Segos waited very patiently, but seeing the Final Trans didn't quite do the job, he is going to Doombolt Cetra to get rid of him once and for all. There goes the King of Kings. And still the Tomb Kings have a lot of kiting, but Segos got his Arthuriel up in the air. Okay, again, it looks tough for Tzeentch, but the win conditions are present. Arthuriel is back in the air, Cetra is dead. We do have the Chromatic Abominations moving up slowly. We have Forsaken fighting, and then Sartorial is going to try and harass the Chosen Gods, which is smart, but he has to be careful. He can't let that situation happen again where the Sphinx is on his ass for the rest of time. He needs to get back in the air, needs to get back in the air, needs to get back in the air. The cat's coming! Get back in the air, you stupid bird! Run! Fly! Woo! All right, he gets up in the air. He does get hit in the back by the Sphinx, but he was already in the air, so it kind of pseudo doesn't count. Oh no, you landed right in front of the cat again, bro. What, why put the cat right there? Why land cat there? Cat gonna hit you, not good. Don't be right there. Oh, it's tough. Skirmish Cav running low on ammunition are finishing off some Forsaken, trying to get the Chromatic Abominations to die off. Forsaken getting to fight with the Chosen Gods is pretty good, but Sartorial, like we said, landing in front of the big kitty cat, not going well for him. Tries to get back up into the sky. I see him trying to get away. He did take a lot of damage, and Sego's just gonna throw in the towel. Brutal. I forget who it was. It was maybe Sipa, but somebody, I was arguing with somebody about Screamers. I think Screamers are trash. I think they've been nerfed far too hard. I remember when they were oppressive. Nobody wants them to be oppressive, but I do think they're kind of pathetic right now. Like, they're one of those units, and here's the thing. Before you type at me, shut up. I'm right, shut up. Here's the thing about Screamers. They're one of those units that I consider underpowered in a certain way. I know what you're going to say. Inkars 1-2-0, by the way. 2-0. He's going to advance to the finals. But I know what you're going to say. But human boy. That's you. That's what you sound like. Human boy. My screamers got 1,000 value. There were these Reiksguard, and the Reiksguard charged into my Marauders, and then my screamers rear charged the Reiksguard, and then 75 minutes later, the Reiksguard were dead, and my screamers had value. Okay, sure. If you find an armored large target, you get to rear charge it for free. It doesn't just run away. There's no enemy support nearby, and the fight takes about 3.5 minutes. Then yes, your screamer can pay for itself. I don't think a unit is particularly good if all of that has to happen for it to pay for itself, right? If there's a unit that you micro the crap out of, like Seekers are strong, right? Seekers have gotten nerfed several times, so maybe it's not a great example, but it is an example for what I'm thinking of. If you did all that stuff with Seekers, they would instantly obliterate the Reiksguard and then go looking for more. And like, if you set up Seekers to carry, they will get 2, 3, 4 times their value and win the whole game. You have to set up Screamers so much for them to just pay for themselves. That is a unit I consider to be bad. And that's like a consistent metric I have to call a unit bad, right? So that's just kind of how I view the game. And if you don't view the game that way, then you don't think it's a bad unit. But there's a lot of units like that where I'm like, sure, if you set up everything for it, it does its job. I think that's bad. I think if you put something in the perfect situation, it should overperform. It should absolutely excel. And if you don't set it up perfectly, then it does its job. That's a good unit, like Skinwolves. Skinwolves are a good unit. Skinwolves are always good, but if you set them up, they'll be amazing. And it's like, that's solid. But if a unit is trash, unless you babysit it, then it sucks, in my opinion. That's just how I view the game. If you don't view it that way, then you're wrong, but you're allowed to be wrong. Finals is Berserk versus Incars. Incars and Segos appear to have been doing a bit of memeing with their score, but we know it was a 2-0 for the XMT representative. And on to the finals we go. Berserk versus Incars. Oh god, more Tzeentch. Oh god, blue fire! It's blue fire, Tzeentch. Oh no. I don't want to, yes, I don't want to. You can't make me. Okay. Tzeentch versus Vampire Coast. Tzeentch Pop brought the blue fire. I don't wanna. I don't wanna. Hey, Aaron. How you doing? Can't hear? Well, what? Can't hear? Skinwolves are a good unit. Skinwolves are always... Okay, well, I just checked my audio. I'm making noise. I'm sorry if you can't hear. For the builds, right? Berserk versus Incars, this is the finals. We have animated Hulks, zombie deckhand mobs, handgunners, a couple deck gunners, a mortar, 2 mortars, and then we have the Night Terrors and some animated Hulks for a bit of mass, other Morgulls as well. Vampire Fleet Admiral of the Deeps, which is so risky versus Tzeentch. Denizens of the Deep and Tidecall, but he has no self-healing whatsoever. So if he gets blue fire targeted, he's doomed. I wonder if he's relying on too many targets. Like, the blue fire wants to take out the mortars. It also wants to kill the deck gunners. It also wants to kill your lord, right? Ooh, there's 3 mortars. So maybe he's like, listen, I don't have any healing, but you can only blue fire so many things at a time. Aside for Berserk, we have the Knights of Immolation, ROR Tzeentch Knights, Exalted Lord of Change with Tzeentch's Firestorm, Blue Fire, and Pink Fire. Then we have Exalted Pink Horrors, the Chromatic Abominations, some Forsaken, more Blue Horrors, and more Forsaken with 2 Chaos Warriors with Halberds in case of Lamprey's Revenge in the late game. Now, I know a lot of better players than me are telling me Exalted Pink Horrors are not bad. Since Warhammer 3 came out, I have considered this unit to be trash, and nothing has changed about it, so I haven't changed my mind. But just know, a lot of better players than me say that I am wrong about Exalted Pink Horrors. I will do hot takes all day, but I will also give context, right? So it's like, hey, really good players think this unit is good. However, my opinion, they're overcosted for not a lot. But who are you gonna trust? Berserk, Alfredino, and Segos, or me, Human Boy? Blue fire down the side of the deck gunners, takes out half their HP. Beautiful cast there, and that is the Tzeentch's Firestorm on the handgunners. Incars does not see it coming or just doesn't think his zombies can dodge in time, and the beautiful tornadoes of Tzeentch are tearing through this handgunner and entirely delete the unit. But oh god, I was too busy looking at the beautiful visuals as the handgunners absolutely pincushion the Exalted Lord of Change. Berserk went in too deep, he got too greedy, and his Tzeentch Lord is in a lot of trouble with no healing whatsoever. Now if he get back in the sky and get far away, he can blue fire kite for the rest of the game. But a huge mistake from Berserk, somehow getting trapped in that. Now the Knights of Immolation bail him out. They get good damage on the Night Terrors, but the handgunners are getting good damage on them as the Night Terrors are tearing them apart in melee. They're getting shot in the back by armor-piercing shots, and it is an abject disaster from Tzeentch. This is falling apart so quickly. Meanwhile, the Exalted Pink Horrors that many great players, great, fantastic players who are better than me told me they are good, are getting murdered for not a lot of value. And I feel justified in my heart, in my shitty little warpstone-fueled cracked heart. I feel justified, but I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't disparage such good players on stream by saying that Exalted Pink Horrors are trash. They're a trash unit. How dare you take 2 of them in the finals of my tournament? You deserve to lose. I wouldn't say that because they're my friends. And that would be very mean. I've seen hot takes on Dreadmaws being bad. Dreadmaws, I have a take on Dreadmaws, but I'll get to it in a second. Handgunners, we can see which ones got to shoot the Keeper of Secrets. Wait, no, fuck. Exalted Lord changed. I'm fumbling over my words today. Some of them got a lot of value. Mortars did fine. For Berserk, his blue fire kite was doing very well, and then one overextension and he just got completely obliterated and the game was over. Exalted Pink Horrors, one of them apparently never got in range, the other one got 68 value. And that's it. Pinks into Exalted Flamer Changebringers is easy setup. Gotcha. My opinions on the Dreadmaw. I think the Dreadmaw is a very, very overpowered bullshit unit in a certain type of player's hands. Like incredibly high micro, very high game knowledge players can make the Dreadmaw super abusive and overpowered. And if you make a mistake, the Dreadmaw is pretty useless. But it's not fragile. It's just like kind of useless. It doesn't do a lot of damage. So it's not like you can just fire and forget it. Like it needs to be in specific places doing disruption and getting out with good timed cooldowns. So in like 80% of games, it's going to be kind of useless. And the 20% of games where it's useful, it's toxic. But here's the thing. It's banned in a lot of tournaments because there's no upside. And it kind of goes back to units. I'll get back to the games in a second. This won't be a long rant, but it kind of goes back to units sort of like the Thunder Tusk, sort of like the Thunder Barge, sort of like the Iron Demon with the Dreadquake Mortar. Those are frequent flyers for the ban list. Not every tournament bans them, but a lot do. And there are certain people that look at it and go, well, the Dreadquake Mortar or the Thunder Barge, like the Dreadquake Mortar, you can counter it with cannons, and it's like 3,000 gold for something that dies to 2 or 3 cannon volleys. I'm exaggerating, but wait a second. Or the Thunder Barge, like, oh, but if you bring a ton of archers or cannons, you can kill it easily. It's not that overpowered. True, but what's the upside? What is the point? I see 2 downsides. You don't prepare for it, and you get completely obliterated by this one unit, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Or you do prepare for it, and you win the game instantly, and it was pretty underwhelming. The Dreadmaw isn't quite like that because it's a bit cheaper, but again, let me get to the point. The point is there's no upside to the Thunder Barge. There's no games that are so cool, that are so fun, that both players were like, wow, GG, that was a really close one, good scrap. It's just kind of a bullshit unit. Like, oh, the blimp is flying around killing my whole army because the dwarves successfully neutralized my ranged units, or they didn't neutralize my ranged units and I killed it. It's just not fun. It's not fun for either player. It's not fun for the caster. It doesn't make for engaging replays. And kind of similar with the Dreadquake Mortar. Is it just going to raffle stomp over my whole army because my mass can't fully stop it and it could shoot the mortar at itself, killing anything that tries to block it up? Oh, okay, cool. Did I bring artillery that can kill it? Then the game's over before it even gets to my line, or it's just cycle charging. It's like the gameplay pattern where they're good is toxic, And if they get shut down, the game's over. The Dreadmaw is similar, but it's cheap, which is even worse, because then if you shut it down, the game's not even over. But if it does anything, the gameplay pattern is fucking awful. It's horrible to watch. It's horrible to play against. It's just unfun. It's unfun for everybody besides maybe the person playing it, but even then, a lot of people who play with the Dreadmaw say it's stupid, but they gotta take it to win, right? So it's like, there's just no upside. There's no cool games with the Dreadmaw. This fucking teleporting, tanky, 1,000 gold, terror-causing, kite, skirmish, melee monster. Like, who's that for? Where's the cool gameplay with that? It doesn't exist. And that's kind of the point, is there's been maybe two cool Dreadmaw games in its entire existence, and so many more that make people want to just quit playing the game. So a lot of tournament hosts will just ban it to get more people to sign up, because it's so unfun for so many people that they just do not want to play the game. And as a tournament organizer, you're like, well, I want people to play, so I'm going to ban it. There's your answer. All right, game 2. Beautiful segue, just perfect. Goonboy's not giving me daily allotted pets. Boo him. Oh yeah, dude, I hate Hazel. Hazel sucks. How's Bashiva? Bashiva's very good. Bashiva's actually very, very good. Quite strong. Not OP, because she has some weaknesses and she's a little expensive for a Footlord, but she's strong. She's very takeable. High risk, high reward. Don't see the problem. The thing is it's an entertainment product. If you're just playing quick battles, sure, whatever. That opinion's fine. But as a tournament host, that's my opinion on those things, where I'm like, well, it's going to make bad content. It's going to make people not want to play in my event. So why would I allow it? All right, I brought you over with me, right? Yep. Here we are, game 2, Inkars versus Berserk. And this is a little weird. This is a little weird. Berserk is typically the one that'll play Nurgle. And I kind of think of Inkars not as a high elf player, but like it is in his repertoire, I believe. So it's weird seeing Berserk on high elves and Inkars on Nurgle. Hi, Menschen Junge, by the way. Hope you're having a blessed day. Aw. Guten Tag, Olaf. Guten Tag. Wie geht es dir? Or is it wie gehen Sie? Are we on a Z relationship? Or a do das? D dare. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've taken German. It's been a long time. All right, what do we got? We have Kha'Zix the Befouled. Interesting. Tyrion is getting Rants of Visitation. So quickly, armies, I need to stop getting distracted. Kha'Zix the Befouled chasing him around with a Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle who has Rants of Visitations and Stream of Corruption. The front line of Marauders, some have great weapons, one of which is the Worshippers of the Crow. A couple Chaos Knights of Nurgle with Lances, and then we have the Noxbringer Soul Grinder Regiment for now. On the other side, for the High Elves, we have Tyrion, Illyrian Reavers, Illyrian Reaver Archers. We do have the Fireborn in the back. We have some archers with light armor, a couple Oceanids, Ship's Company, the Company of Caradhrian, so another Ship's Company ROR, more archers, and a High Caster with Apotheosis, Tempest, and Fiery Convocation. Okay. Nurgle is enjoying this early game, casting Rancid Visitations on Tyrion, and then just recharging Winds of Magic to do it again. Meanwhile, the Noxbringer is getting shots off on the archers, so the High Elves are a little bit more stressed to move up. Now, if this game goes super long, the High Elves will get the range advantage just because the Noxbringer will run out of ammunition. But Nurgle's not hard-pressed to charge in right now. Rants of Visitations is a very expensive spell, so they can just take this early game to charge it back up. Arcane Conduit giving a little bit more Winds of Magic recharge, but not too much. This is land battles. Attacking rules have to be followed, so they are relying on the Noxbringer to keep them from breaking any rules while they just sit and recharge Winds of Magic and wait for the High Elves to participate. You might be wondering why no Apotheosises are getting cast on Tyrion. It looks like actually maybe one did, but Tyrion is usually going to heal cap himself with the Heart of Avalorn regardless, so it's not super advantageous to top him up with Apotheosis right now. The next Overcasted Rants of Visitation is going to proc that heart, so I think both sides are just going to have to take that trade. I don't think wasting all your Apotheosis magic on Tyrion is really that good. Wie geht's dir? The Gates. Hasn't been in my repertoire for about a year. All right, Inkars, just shit all over me. Hey, Inkars, hope you're doing good. I I don't know, man. Besides Tomb Kings and Greenskins, I really don't know what you play these days, but Nurgle was not going to be my guess. How are you doing? I'm doing okay. I've been really busy, so I haven't been streaming or making as many videos as I would like, but we're getting through it. Ooh, nasty Noxbringer friendly fire. I'm going to pretend that that was intentional by Berserk. Fake charge the Fireborn, then back off as soon as the Noxbringer fires into his own troops, but this is really bad. Tyrion's surrounded. He does have some Illyrian Reavers to help, but they're mostly going to help with bodies, not with any damage output, obviously. And Kha'Zix's getting a lot of damage on Tyrion, which is bad. When you know Rancid Visitations is going to tax your health pool aggressively, no matter what you do, taking damage in melee is brutal. There's another Rancid Visitations. Big heal we talked about. Again, Tyrion's just going to do that to himself, so really don't need to heal him. But that HP pool is still going down, whether it gets healing or not. Now, who could use some healing is the Fireborn. They could really use some support. And this early game is not going how Berserk wanted it to. Again, the High Elves were slowing this down, trying to skirmish it out, but Nurgle was very happy with it. This is where Nurgle's going to be less happy. The Noxbringer's out of ammo, so now they're going to want to start getting into melee. But so far, things have gone beautifully for them. They got to freely charge up 2 Rancid Visitations, cast them both on Tyrion without being in a prolonged melee. Because when you have Rancid Visitations, if the game ends quickly, you're very bummed out, because obviously you didn't get to use it to snipe out the enemy lord or anything. In comes a Fiery Convocation, damages the Fireborn a little bit, but does take out 2 Marauders and a Chaos Knight. So a good Fiery Convocation cast to try and get the High Elves back in this game. Tyrion is charging in, heedless of his own health, and that looks a little silly, but when you know that another Rancid Visitation is coming at some point, Berserk's just trying to get use out of Tyrion while he has Tyrion. That's really all he can do about it. At some point, he might try and back Tyrion off and get out of range of Rancid Visitations, but who knows if he'll think that far ahead or anything. But yeah, you have a combat lord, you got to use him. You can't just hide him away, or it's useless. The Noxbringer's moving in, all out of ammunition, but he does have melee contact, I believe. Yes, he can destroy ammo by getting into melee, so I do think that Inkars wants to try and get him back towards the archers and just neutralize them as a force in the late game. Kha'Zix and the Sorcerer Lord are looking around for either the caster or Tyrion. I think they might force an engagement by tackling the archers, because if you throw them into the archers, someone has to come back and peel them off, or you just lose your archers. So that's kind of a win-win for Nurgle if the single entities get into his ranged units. Oceanids holding the front line is a big win for the High Elves. So far it's kind of been Nurgle this, Nurgle that, Nurgle these, but the Oceanids are nearly uncontested. Nurgle does not have good anti-large or magic damage in this build. Not saying they don't have it overall, but in this build they don't. So the Oceanids are going to kind of run rampant over Nurgle's front line, and this is starting to get a little concerning. Chaos Knight's getting very low. The one that got hit with the Fiery Convocation was nearly deleted, and it might be that one as I'm looking, because there's 3, right? Kha'Zix hunting down Tyrion again. I do want to focus in on that, but I'm missing a Chaos Knight. There's the other one. So we have 2 healthy Chaos Knights still, but Kha'Zix doing a lot of damage to Tyrion. And Sword of Filth taxing his stats, lowering his impressive melee defense. Tyrion's always had crazy melee defense, but Sword of Filth whittling it down a little bit. Things are getting rough. Kha'Zix's getting good damage out. Tyrion is running, and he's very low on HP, and he is heal capped. Do we blow another Rancid Visitation just to secure his death, or do you trust that he's kind of out of the game? Maybe you want to just count him as out of the game. I can see you wanting to kill him with Rancid Visitations, for sure, right? I get it. It wouldn't be a bad choice, but I do wonder. High Elves do not struggle with leadership at all, so sniping their lord isn't as important as it is for other factions, and you don't want to waste your Winds of Magic over killing Tyrion when he's already pretty much a spent force. So I could see you wanting to use Rancid Visitations on the Mage of High Magic and just kind of attrition down a different source. The Oceanids are a problem, but Rancid Visitations will not do that much damage to them. And the Chaos Knights here, trying to charge downhill into the archers. They do get in here a little bit. They're getting some decent damage, but the Oceanids are starting to prey upon them as they get involved. Tyrion's chased off by Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix does not have the speed to keep up with that High Elf mount. We'll see if Berserk's micro is on top of it when Tyrion rallies, if he instantly gets new orders to keep moving. Nice Fiery Convocation down the line of Chaos Knights of Nurgle. A traditionally very slow spell that's only taken with a net. So far, Berserk has gotten some decent hits with it here and there. Tyrion is back. Tyrion immediately gets orders, so Berserk is on top of that micro. Pops Foeseeker for 109 speed. The corrupted, rotting mount of Kha'Zix is not able to keep up at all. And now I would not be surprised if Tyrion just plays a game of keep away, stays as far away from the fight as possible to not lose the leadership buff for the High Elves, but also not be in Rancid Visitation range. I could see him doing that. Oceanids still trying to grind it out. High Elves are not out of this game just yet. Bounce power is against them, but they have healing, they have Oceanids, and Nurgle does not have a lot left to deal with the Oceanids. Not a lot. Worshippers of the Crow getting to fight Illyrian Reaver archers in melee. That is a bit of a whoopsie, but Berserk's focus is probably on keeping Tyrion alive and getting the Oceanids in good engagements. He probably doesn't notice a nearly dead skirmish cav incidentally fighting the Worshippers of the Crow. He does now, and he backs them off just to keep them a little bit alive. Noxbringer is currently fighting with the Mage of High Magic. Tyrion is staying alive. We have archers routing in every direction. So what Berserk really wants to do is he wants to simplify the playing field. He needs to get rid of these Marauders. He needs to finish off these Chaos Knights that are super low is what he wants to do, so that he can make the battlefield smaller and there's more room for his archers to spread out and get shots off. Because the more half-dead bullshit units that are running around, they can still shut down your archers. They can still chase things off the map. So Berserk's probably looking to simplify the battlefield and just make this a little cleaner to deal with. A lot of Nurgle's balance of power is in their 3 healthy single entities, which if you get into a late game of them fighting on top of Ship's Company with Oceanids, you're going to be just fine. So Berserk really wants to get rid of anything that's a multi-entity model and shrink the battlefield down to a grindy blob fight that he can heal up. Hey, World Beater. Scarbrand telling Ginkars to shut up. Fair. That's fair. Whenever this series is done, please stick around. We have an announcement at the end of the stream real quick for the people that weren't here at the start of the stream. Oceanids coming down to clean up those Marauders. Archers getting cleaned up by the Noxbringer. And again, Tyrion is playing keep away, just staying alive to bother Nurgle in the future. You can see the High Elves are starting to group up, right? They're starting to stick together, don't want to get picked off anymore, and they are finishing off those Marauders like we talked about. Chaos Knights getting very low. So can Nurgle's 3 single entities kill the 2 Oceanids and the remaining High Elf infantry? We do have Stream of Corruption, which can be very good in late game blob fights if you don't burn all your Winds of Magic on Rancid Visitations, or if he's not saving Rancid Visitations for when Tyrion comes back, yada yada. We could see Stream of Corruptions. It's just going to be, how does Nurgle want to spend their last Winds of Magic? Chaos Knights get a nice Fecundity, good heal that they want. The Oceanids are starting to attrition a little bit. The High Elves do got to throw some healing their way if these Oceanids are going to carry. They're very, very tanky, but could use a little healing here and there. And Nurgle is also still trying to pick off anything they can. Like when anything routes, they'll probably disengage from the blob fight and chase it all the way off, is what I imagine. Kha'Zix is continuing to zone Tyrion. Currently just keeping him out of here, but I'm a little concerned about that. Because Tyrion's not trying to engage. And Kha'Zix could be here messing up Oceanids. Apotheosis onto the more wounded Oceanid, trying to keep it in this battle for now. Wind Reaver archers kiting away. Oceanid's continuing to grind. The Oceanid's not great against the Noxbringer. I guess the Noxbringer does have magic damage to get through all those resists. Kha'Zix doesn't, but he's going to charge in soon. Sword of Filth probably going to go down on one of the Oceanids. One of them, lowering their impressive melee defense. They do have perfect vigor, so they're still topped off. 56 melee defense. Ship's Company starting to tear out away. Those Nurgle Knights not looking too good, even after getting the heal of the Fecundity. But the Oceanids also, low leadership for just a second. Just a second of low leadership, but they're back in it with Apotheosis. And we can see some of the single entities are maybe trying to get past the Oceanids and find that caster. Take her out so there's a little less healing. Still, the archers are firing in for the High Elves, and now some of the Nurgle Knights are starting to rout. We do have more archers coming back. We do have Ship's Company trying to rejoin the fight. Oceanid's getting very low, however. I mean, one is super healthy, but this one is super duper duper low. Chaos Knights rout, and do Illyrian Reavers chase them off. I don't know if they even have the balance of power to chase them off. Honestly, those Knights might rally in their face, but we'll see. The Illyrian Reaver archers are doing what they can. Chaos Knights get a quick charge on the last of these defending Elven archers. Ship's Company trying to chase them around. Another Apotheosis desperately tries to save the Oceanids, who do start to demonic instability crumble from 2 leadership to -40. They just tip over an edge and fall into the abyss. Tyrion is coming back. I have not seen Streams of Corruption. I think there's a Rancid Visitation waiting for him, but Nurgle actually wins. High Elves just throw in the towel. Wait, what's this the semifinals for? The land battle tournament last weekend, Black Knight. I had a crazy busy week and actually could not get around to streaming it until just right now. Chaos Knights did very well for in-cars. All three of his single entities did quite nicely, especially the Sorcerer Lord, so very good stuff there. For Berserk, Tyrion did not get to get a lot of value. He just had to tank Rancid Visitations all day, but also Kha'Zix kind of hunting him down was brutal. Fireborn did okay. Legion of Archers did okay. Oceanids did quite well, but the rest of his roster failed him. And that is a surprise 2-0 for in-cars. 2-0. Now wait, don't you log off just yet. Give me 1 second. So we go to the desktop, we go to Photoshop, we remove the last guy. 99 to 98, in-cars beats Berserk. I put that there because I had to finish the challenge, but I honestly forgot what their score was, and I didn't watch the games to spoil it for myself, so I just put that there. So that is it for that portion of the stream, but hey, 1 second, just 1 second. We also have one thing going on today and one thing going on very soon. So why don't you just shut up? All right, first up, in about an hour, if you see my little timer says 10:12, in about an hour and 45 minutes, we have a Faction War qualifier. Sign up, single faction, best of one, conquest, and if you get the furthest on the faction you select, you get invited to the Faction War. Currently have 22 people. There's 24 factions in the game, and that's if there's no repeats. So if you sign up, I mean, I see 2 high elves. Let's see, participants. Let's see. Now, obviously, people can change what they are, but if you sign up as high, let's see. I see a Norska. I don't see a Nurgle. So if you sign up as Nurgle and no one else signs up, you're in the Faction War as Nurgle, baby. I don't see a Khorne. So you get the gist, right? Khorne, Nurgle are open right now. If you joined and signed up for those, you could get in the Faction War for free if nobody else copies you, right? Meanwhile, we have some chumps. I saw multiple high elves. So those guys are going to be scrapping it out for one spot like idiots. I see multiple Chaos Dwarves. So there's still spots. There's spots. You can just sneak in there. You don't even have to win a game. You just have to pick the faction nobody else picked. You're just in, bro. Sign up. Do it. We'll be streaming that in a little bit. Other big announcement is the Warhammer World Championship. Now, I am helping with it, but it's not my event. So don't be like, wow, Human Boy, it's so cool you're doing this. I didn't do shit. I'm just a caster and I'm helping promote it, right? There's a lot of great people who are working on this. But the Warhammer World Championship is back. I do not remember if a Domination one took place or if that got canceled. I honestly don't remember. But I was involved with the big one in Warhammer 2. That was land battles. So now this is either the second or third iteration, but I believe it's the third conquest version in Warhammer 3. A bunch of great people are putting it together. It's free to sign up. All the details are on their Discord, or you can go to warhammerwc.com. That is their website. And you can see all these great people promoting it. Turin, Anticity, Dav. We went through it at the start of the stream, but a lot of big names, and then I'm also in there, I guess. So a lot of big people are going to be part of this and streaming it. It's free to sign up. It's fun. It's great. It starts off, there's multiple stages. So at first there's a group stage where you get multiple games in no matter what. So don't worry about signing up and getting instantly knocked out. And you're like, wow, why did I waste my time? You'll get multiple games. It's fun. It's free. Sign up. Any questions you have can be answered on their Discord server, or you can click this button to support it by contributing to the prize pool. So yeah, starts June 17th. Registration is open now until then. So you have 10 days left to sign up. Hop in, should be a good time. A ton of streamers are going to be covering it. So a lot of time to get famous. Should be fun. Should be great. Sign up for that. All right, cool. Yeah. Also, Kukinko is on Nurgle. Got it. Zerkovich, come back. Yeah, hosting such a big tournament by yourself. Yeah, dude. I'm hosting it all me. Where CA? I think they're supporting it in their own way, but I don't know if they're gonna stream anything live with it. We'll see. They might be focused on like Warhammer 40k stuff. All right. I will be streaming again in an hour and 45 minutes, but I gotta run some errands between now and then, which is why I was feeling a little bit rushed this stream. So I will see you all in a little bit. Just a teeny little bit. Yeah, just a teeny little bit. Sign up for the Faction War.